Okay, so I have a bit of a plan here. I'm gonna try to do it justice. I'm still feeling rushed, so this may never see the light of day, but if I can keep it together and not skits myself out, maybe it'll work. I'm gonna go through, I got about, I don't know, about 10 scriptures. This is gonna be by no means an exhaustive uh, study on anger. And I'm not exactly like anybody you're going to want to get your exhaustive studies from, anyhow. And it's awful loud out there. There's so many loud cars, but I got to keep my window open. Okay, yeah, and we're going to look into anger a little bit. Just basically, my goal is for the average person to get a little better grip on it and take control rather than be controlled. I'm going to read the scriptures, read some notes, and then go back through and hopefully be able to apply the scriptures a little bit in some way, get something out of them. First one is Ephesians 4, and these are going to be major paraphrases, but you'll probably recognize most of them and get the idea. Ephesians 4:26 and 7. Be angry and do not sin. Don't let the sun go down in your anger, and don't give the devil an opportunity. You probably heard foothold. So the first thing, and I'm never going to miss on the side of letting something out because it could lead to something bad. Anger can be legit. Most of the times where we're accepting it, probably it's not, but it can be. And even when it is, though, we're going to find out there's restrictions on it, and we're meant to control it. Okay, we'll definitely come back to that one. Ephesians 6:4. Fathers, don't provoke your child to anger. Or basically, don't do anything but discipline them in the instruction of the Lord. I'm sure that we can get something out of that because I'm not a father. I'm sure many of you may be, but there's going to be something here for fathers and not fathers. I'm sure of it. Ephesians 4:31 and 32. Let all anger be put away from you, but be kind and tender-hearted, forgiving as God forgave you. As God forgave you. Psalm 103:8. The Lord is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, and full of loving kindness. Proverb 14:29. He who is slow to anger has great understanding. Quick-tempered people raise up folly. If you hang out with them, you will be ignorant and foolish, and you will become like them. I know I try to understand lots of things that I struggle with, and if getting a grip on my anger will help me with that, you'll have great understanding. I want to have great understanding. Colossians 3:8. Put then all aside, anger, wrath, malice, slander, and abusive speech. And I wanted to put one in here that isn't related to anger exactly, but it comes to mind all the time here. Guys saying they found God or know God, or they're talking about God in the same breath as they're just talking the lewdest, crudest stuff. And I always think of put away all filthy language. Okay, Proverbs 22, verse 24 and 25. Okay, I touched on this. Don't associate with a man given to anger or hot temper, or you will learn his ways and get snared in a trap. And Matthew 5:21-24. We're going to get lots from Jesus on this that I'm not going to even attempt to decipher it all, but we'll get something out of it for sure. Matthew 5:21-24. You have heard that the ancients were told, you shall not commit murder. That's an Old Testament quote. He did that a lot. And whoever commits murder shall be liable to the court. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother shall be guilty before the court. And whoever says to his brother, you good for nothing, shall be guilty before the Supreme Court. And whoever says, you fool, shall be guilty enough to go into the fiery hell. I can certainly understand some of that. Thank God he is compassionate, full of loving kindness, and slow to anger, huh? See how we need it, how we're supposed to give it, how we need it, and how we have hopefully have gotten it, if you can follow that, all those prepositions. And Matthew 18, 21 and 22. This is going to be the kind of the classic one. Well, maybe not. 18, 21 and 22. Right. Then Peter came and said to him, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Think if your brother sins against you, you're going to have to be dealing with anger, right? Up to 7 times? Jesus said to him, I do not say to you up to 7 times, but up to 70 times 7. Okay, so we know anger is definitely involved when my brother sins against me, I get angry, and that would actually be one of those times probably that it would be legitimate to have anger. All right. Those are the scriptures that came up, and I just kind of Googled some anger scriptures and jotted them down and let them lead where they do. That's whenever I prepare stuff like this, that's kind of how I let it go, unless I have an exact idea in mind. And we're just looking to basically further our understanding, get a little better, get better at controlling it than controlling us. Okay, like I said, anger can be legit. But I think we tend to let it get out of control. We must master it and control it, or it will master us. And I dare say that it has mastered me. Whether it is or not right now may be a question. And I think most of us at one time or another have been mastered by it and probably still could do better with it. I still have a ways to go, believe me. But I have gained some ground, and for the self-serving reason of, and this is how I usually get to working on anything, I hated the way it felt. Every little thing made me angry. If something didn't come out perfectly, if something wasn't just right, it would be anger. And I just realized I don't want to feel this way anymore. And even realizing that it's still hard to fight sometimes. Even though I hate the way it feels, it's like you're so used to it, you don't know any other way. But like I said, it's slow, but there's some ground to be gained there. And one thing, AA has some good sayings. They have a lot of bad things. One thing they do say is we look for progress, not perfection, because only one of those is possible. And like you've heard me say this before if you watch some of my other videos, I got anxiety, social, coming and going. So I mean, I'm just swimming in cortisol all the time. And if I don't find a way to regulate this, to like get my mind controlling my body, it's gonna kill me, because I've been just walking around with full of cortisol for years and years. Oh, and I thought of this too. I would think that most of us are letting ourselves get angry for a lot of little stuff, probably a lot of things that don't matter. Carry it around all day, and then we're agitated, somebody talks to us, and we just eat it. Say, no, we're fine. You know what I mean? Because, we don't want any confrontation. Whether there would be one with them or not, we wouldn't be fit to have it. But because we don't know how to deal with confrontation. And believe me, I believe there should be a lot more confrontation than there is. But most of us aren't fit to deal with it, so we got to get prepared before we can actually control the confrontation, because it should be controlled by us. I think anger can be used to manipulate, can be used to lie to ourselves, we can use it to intimidate, and we can use it to lie to others. I think different people would have problems with different ones of those, but I thought that was some ideas that could get us thinking a broader picture with it. Okay, now I'm going to go back over the scriptures and hopefully have a way to relate them to life. And this video is already getting kind of long. It's never going to download in time. Okay, be angry and do not sin. Self-explanatory, but easier said than done. Don't let the sun go down on it. So even if you are legitimately angry, don't hold on to it. Don't go to sleep with it. Just because you got a legit reason to be angry doesn't mean you have a right to hold on to it forever and stew on it and hold it into the next day. And don't give the devil an opportunity. How many of us would like to give the devil fewer opportunities? Because I've given him free reign and run, and just I'm lucky to still be alive. So I need to start giving him less opportunity. Okay, the Ephesians 6:4:1. Fathers, don't provoke your child to anger. Okay, there's another one. I think we can use anger as being lazy. What I would see fathers doing here would be the worldly way. Just do what I told you to do. Instead of the discipline and instruction of the Lord, which takes time, takes effort. It takes denying ourselves some, our flesh some. And when our child's getting on our nerves, like I said, which I don't have any, it takes the patience and the discipline and to teach them in the Lord, not do what I say, not what I do, or just anger and rage and threatening punishment. Ephesians 4, let all anger be put away from you. Okay, be kind-hearted, tender, forgiving, like God forgave you. That one was Paul talking to a church. So basically, your church brothers and sisters, anger should hardly exist. When it happens, if everybody's operating in the Spirit or trying to operate in the Spirit, it would get dealt with immediately. It's not going to let fester and grow, and we're going to be assertive, and we're going to be controlling it, not us. We're going to slip and we're going to do stupid stuff, always. But we're going to be correcting ourselves as we go when we get control. And that's much nicer and easier than having to make amends for a mess that's gone on for a month. Catch it right away. Deal with it. Yes, that makes for a much more pleasant life. Okay, so on the Lord, this one is just, remember this, we're supposed to be like God. The Lord is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, and full of loving kindness. Maybe that'll help when we realize that that's how he deals with us. When somebody annoys us at a gathering of believers or otherwise, I hardly want to use the word church anymore because it's pretty well meaningless, and the church never was a building anyhow, so you know all about that. Be kind and tender-hearted, forgiving. And the Proverb 14:29, pretty well self-explanatory, but worth going over again. He who is slow to anger has great understanding. If you don't let yourself fly off the handle or get into a rage, you're going to see things that you would not otherwise see, plain as day, straight in reality, right in front of you. You will not see it if we're disobeying this one. We're letting ourselves get angry over things that we have no business feeding that rage or whatever. It blinds us. What? Blind rage, right? Wonder where that came from. All those old sayings come from the Bible. And yeah, you don't have any understanding, and it says you raise up, you exalt folly is what it actually said. I don't want to do that. You'll be ignorant and foolish when you could be understanding. Okay, then put aside all anger, wrath, and abusive speech. Yeah, that abusive speech, that filthy speech, it's just unbecoming. And I know it can take some work, and it can be a big problem for people and not a big problem for other people, but I think it's a fair problem for most people. Proverb 22:24 and 25. Don't associate with a man given to anger or hot temper, or you will learn his ways and fall into a trap. Somebody is chronically in a rage, angry all the time, don't hang out with them. There's other things in the Bible where if I would have realized and actually obeyed where it tells you certain people not to associate with or hang out with, it would have saved me a lot of paths that led nowhere. You're not even supposed to entertain that person. You're not supposed to try to fix them. You get a shot or whatever, fine. But it's not one of those things I'm supposed to hang out with him for a while. And there may be exceptions, family member or certain exceptions, but in general, somebody's in a rage all the time. Don't hang out with them. You'll save yourself trouble and you will understand life a whole lot better. And you won't fall into a trap, right? And this is the one, I saved this for last. There's a 1 Corinthians 6:7. Paul is talking to the Corinthians. They're taking each other to court and stuff, and he's just like, you guys are crazy. Why are you doing this? This is insane. And he said, why not rather be wronged than take a brother to court? And of course, you're getting angry before you're taking your brother to court, right? You're not dealing with your anger. You're not being assertive. You're being aggressive or passive aggressive. I want to leave us with this one. Why not rather be wronged? Flesh hates it. Your ego hates it. But Paul and God is saying it's better than hanging on to it. It's better than starting fights and taking brothers to court. And that doesn't have to be technically to court, but having a standoff with your believing brother or not speaking. Be wronged. Imagine what understanding you'll have if you allow that to happen. And what might God be able to do with that situation if you allow that to happen? You and your brother might be reconciled better than you ever would by doing it the normal way, by hanging on to it for 2 weeks and then coming back, kicking dirt. Well, I'll say I'm sorry if you say you're sorry. There are ways to do this, and they are not easy, but they're simple, a lot of them. And that would be, let me make sure, this is going to be long and this isn't going to download before I have to leave, so I might end up having to leave the phone here, which I don't want to do, but I might. I'll go back through Matthew and be thorough here. Matthew 18, 21 and 22. Okay, this is the one where Jesus told Peter, you forgive 70 times 7 times. So in other words, there are people smarter than me I've heard teach on this, that basically means infinity. It means you don't ever not forgive. And this translation right here doesn't even talk about if the other brother repented. But that's a different story. I don't want to try to dissect all that right now. But we hope God forgives us the stuff we don't confess, right? The things we don't even know we did or think we did. And I think that's often the case when our brother sins against us. They don't realize they did. It's something small, we're making it bigger than it is. Or it's real, and that person's human like we are, and just did something foolish and didn't even realize it because our natural inclinations are foolish. And if we're not consciously thinking about doing what Jesus says we're supposed to do and the right thing to do, we fall into the old natural ways. Okay, Matthew 5, 21 to 24. What have we got there? Okay, you have heard that the ancients were told, you shall not commit murder, and whoever commits murder shall be liable to the court. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother shall be guilty before the court. Whoever says to his brother, you good for nothing, shall be guilty before the Supreme Court. Whoever says, you fool, shall be guilty enough to go into the fiery hell. I certainly am not going to sit here and try to explain to you what all that means, because I don't know what it all means. I just know that it's all possible that if you follow this and follow this and follow this, and don't heed any of the warnings, at the end you're guilty enough to go to the fiery hell. And anger is on those lists of things that won't inherit the kingdom of God. Fortunately, at least we know that doesn't mean I lost my temper last week, I'm going to hell. But it does keep us sober and keep us in check. And as usual, I hope this made some sense. Hope it helps. And I hope it downloads. Keep taking chances. God willing, I will see ya. Thank you for brightening my mood today, those of you that did.